Hello, hello. Welcome back to the Awakening Her podcast. How are you, my friend? Pull up a beanbag chair. I'm so excited you're here today. Today, we are talking all about manifesting for empaths. So if you know you're an empath, if you suspect you're an empath, if you feel sensitive to the energies around you, if you have been told you are too sensitive, chances are you are an empath. So whether you know you are or you're curious, this is definitely the episode for you. I am an empath. I'm also an HSP, which is highly sensitive person. And that's not just emotionally sensitive. It's also sensitive to noises and smells and overwhelm and overstimulation. Those can also be things that empaths deal with. And so if that's you, it's really important that you're here for this episode because manifestation is totally different for us. There are some things that we really have to recognize, which is what we're going to get into in this episode, before just moving forward with regular manifestation practices. To be an empath is to be sensitive, is to soak up the energies around you. So if we're just pretending that we're not going to do it or getting down on ourselves when we feel too sensitive, when we feel overwhelmed, when we feel like crowds or noises or overstimulation is high, then we get hard on ourselves and we wonder why we can't just be a normal person like everybody else. Why can't I handle social functions like everybody else? If you've thought these types of things, this is definitely the episode for you because we can't just pretend that we can not be an empath when we go out into a gathering or into, we go to a concert, we go to a mall. We can't just pretend that we're not an empath. We have to learn how to manage our energy, be aware of it, learn how to ground, protect, all that. So we're going to get into all of this in today's episode. And if this is resonating with you, if you are an empath, the November challenge on the path is actually called Thriving as an Empath. So On the Path is my other podcast where we focus more on the tangibles of how to do the work, the spiritual and self-growth work, the manifestation journey. We do everything from weekly assignments that break down individual tools that you can use in your everyday life. We also do deep dive episodes, monthly challenges like the November one that is called Thriving as an Empath. And there's also an entire methodology to manifestation and transformation there in audio format on a private podcast. So if that sounds like something you want to dive into, if you want to take this relationship one step further, check out On the Path. The link is below. You can come check it out. And if it doesn't resonate with you, you can cancel at any time. It's just a monthly thing. So we're talking about empaths. We're talking about manifesting. We're talking about how different it is. So grab a really comfy beverage today, maybe a warm one, something that makes you feel calm and grounded. If nothing else, take a swig of water and let's dive into today's episode. Hey, beautiful soul. Welcome to the Awakening Her podcast. I am so grateful that you've been led here, and I'm so excited for you that you're answering the call to manifest more magic in your life. My name is Talia Joy, and I am committed to showing you exactly how to manifest more excitement, ease, success, abundance, confidence, love, and anything else you've been craving. So if you're ready to go on a magical journey of spiritual and self-growth to manifest the life you're meant for, we are now besties. Let's dive in. Okay, so before we dive into all the goods, I want to first describe and define what an empath is. So an empath is a highly sensitive person, but there is a sensitivity scale. So they say that on one end of the scale is a narcissist, and this isn't to, use labels and whatever, but a narcissist, literally one of the traits is that they don't care how things affect others. And in fact, they are very oblivious or can easily shut down the feelings that they have. Narcissists can just kind of get what they want, believe they're worthy of what they want, and it doesn't matter whose toes they have to step on, who they have to take out to get there. Whereas an empath is way more about how is what I'm doing affecting that person? Or you can feel that person. You can feel their mood change. You can feel and have empathy for other people. So because it's a scale, a narcissist is at one side and an empath is at the other. But in the middle is a highly sensitive person. And this is where you are more sensitive to stimulus. You're more sensitive to the energy in a room. You can feel things. You can feel between the lines. If somebody, walks in and you can tell there's tension between two people, you can pick up on it. You can feel the vibes in a room, whether it feels good or bad or what. And that's being a highly sensitive person. You pick up on stimulus more than somebody else. You're picking up on it. You're highly sensitive to the energies, I say that on purpose, in the room. So the empath, the difference between being highly sensitive and being an empath is that an empath actually brings that feeling into their body. So they say that highly sensitive people and empaths actually have a more active neurological system, that we don't have the same filters to block out stimulation that others do. Whether that is something that developed over time or something we were born with, we pick up on other people's energy that other brains can block out. We notice body language. We notice the subtleties in somebody's voice. We notice, as I said, even tension between two people or chemistry between two people. Literally sensing things that are invisible to others. So if you are an empath, it is a superpower. We just need to learn how to work with it. But you are literally picking up on things that are not there for other people. So you might, leave a gathering or a get together and you say to your friend or your partner and you're like, wow, what was up with Sally? She was totally off. And the partner, whoever goes like, what do you mean? They said they were fine. And you're like, they were not fine. I could feel the energy. Or did you see the way that they said this thing? And someone else is like, I don't know, they seem fine. That's going to be the difference between a highly sensitive person or empath and sort of quote unquote regular people, is they may not pick up on all that energetic stuff. Right? You pick up on emotion and feel them in your body. So you are definitely an empath. If, say, you're in a room and there's tension and you start to feel physically sick, or maybe there's so much excitement that you're brought to tears, even though it's nothing to even do with you. If you're crying at puppy commercials or getting so emotionally involved into a movie or a friend's life, like you're crying when your friends are crying, you're, crying tears of joy when they have tears of joy and tears of sadness when they do, we actually pick up and feel things in our body. We can feel sick. We can feel nervousness, anxiety, pain, joy, fear, all from other people. So one thing that happened to me once, it's really trippy, is I was at this dinner party and I started feeling really, really sick in my stomach. And it was actually not just sick, it was like a pain. It was this weird discomfort I've never felt before. And actually, I don't think I've ever felt it since. And I had no idea why. And later, my dad, because it was a family get together, my dad told me that one of his friends actually had cancer in their stomach. And within a few months, this man passed away. And I swear that I could feel it. As soon as after he told me, I was like, oh, that was that feeling. So sometimes when you're an empath, it might not be something like cancer or sickness all the time. It's also just picking up on people's funk. If you're with a partner or you have a roommate, you might feel like sometimes if they're not okay, you're not okay. Like if they're agitated, you all of a sudden are on edge. If they're not doing all right, you have this need potentially to fix or help them because you can literally feel it. So it's not selfish. It's not a selfish thing. But sometimes we tend to go, and I joke about this, like with my husband, I'll be like, can you be okay so I can be okay? Because I feel you and I can't turn that off. So this is being an empath. So you may be HSP or you may be an empath. If you're not sure, noticing when you feel emotions, when you feel other people's energy, where do you feel it? Is it in the body? When I'm in a large crowd, even if it's something really good, like my daughter's dance competition or my husband's concert, he's a musician, it can be I'm in a crowd and it's good vibes. I get shaky where I almost feel like I'm so cold, I'm shaking. My body is like almost uncontrollably shaking as if I'm really cold. And I used to always think like, oh, I guess I'm cold. I don't know what's up. I got to move my body. But I realized it's literally me picking up on and internalizing the energy of the crowd. So that's pretty crazy. A lot of people say that being an empath is a curse, but I really truly choose to believe that it's a superpower. It's also built into your soul blueprint and why you're here and what you're here to do. It's for more reasons than what we always are aware of. But if you are an empath, I promise you it is a superpower. We just need to learn how to manage it. So it can feel overwhelming. But if we learn to see it as a gift, we realize that it's a powerful magnetic force that actually makes us a really good manifester. So it can feel overwhelming because we're picking up on more energy, but we're literally, as I said, picking up on frequencies that are so subtle that most people miss it. So to you, it's so obvious that it takes you over. To other people, they didn't even notice the tension in the room. Like, seriously, you're a magical unicorn, as I said. So it's really cool to think about, circling back to how empaths are actually really great manifestors. This is because we are natural feelers. So when we get behind something, our joy can be like level 10. Or if you like to visualize, you can get into the emotions of it. Or if you're in a place where you're celebrating something, or you receive extra income or some sort of milestone, you can allow yourself to feel it in your body and be so swelled up with the emotions that that's very powerful. We actually manifest from emotion. What we feel in our body attracts more of the same. So when it comes to manifestation, we're also naturally intuitive, but that energy amplification, the fact that we are so about our energy, when we use that for good, we are actually incredibly powerful manifestors. So before I dive into some of the stuff that I want you to start practicing and noticing when it comes to manifestation, I want to say that being an empath can also hold us back with manifestation when we don't know how to regulate the energy. So in the On the Path challenge, the Thriving as an Empath, I'm going to go into the nitty-gritty of the tools, which is what On the Path is all about. I'm going to give you so many tools, including meditations, tools you can use while you're at work, while you're in a meeting, while you're with your kids, things that don't even take time. It's just an awareness, and tools you can do silently while you're at a family dinner. So I highly recommend joining On the Path if you want to join in on that challenge, because when we don't know how to manage our energy, we often feel like we have too many emotions and feelings flooding in. We get overwhelmed and anxiety. We're picking up on other people's energy, whether it's the UPS guy or your parents or coworkers or whatever, and that can really throw us off. We can also feel our perceived failures when we get down on ourselves. We can feel it so deeply, again, in our body. We also tend to become energetically depleted because there is so much density of energy that we feel and exchange and all that. And we can easily neglect ourself and our energetic needs for others, because often we want to people please, because again, we can feel when people are not pleased. So we will deplete ourselves, neglect ourselves to keep other people comfortable because we feel it so deeply. If we feel somebody's off with us or not happy with us or disappointed in us, it can affect us deeply. And this comes in also to trauma healing and stuff like that. But just talking about being an empath, we can easily deplete our energy for others because it takes so much energy to make sure everybody's okay that we deplete our own. So we can also feel as an empath that we don't belong, and this creates separation. We can feel like the world is literally not cut out for us because it's not. The world is not made for empaths. It's a very masculine go, 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 hustle, deadlines and appointments, and it's a very masculine linear experience. And so to be a multidimensional feeler, it can feel very hard to be here on this earth, especially when we don't have tools to regulate our energy. We can also lack boundaries. As I said, depleting ourselves for others, but also having a hard time saying no because we don't want to disappoint anyone. We don't want to, say no, and then we see someone's face change and then we're like, oh God, I should just go, right? Again, just to keep people happy because we're feeling their discomfort and that's so uncomfortable. It can also be difficult to get clear and focused on what you desire because you're pulled in a whole bunch of directions, and it can be kind of, ooh, it would be nice to have that, or ooh, I can really get behind this. And that can really get in the way of being clear and focused on what we want, because there's so many other, details, and what if it doesn't work? And again, the perceived fears, and we can all get swelled up in our emotions, making it difficult to move forward, difficult to be focused. By the way, if you're resonating with this stuff, I highly also recommend the Momentum Tribe. I have a feeling we are going to be a band of empaths in this. We start at the beginning of November. It's going to take us through to January, and we're probably all going to be empaths in there. I'm an empath. We can definitely help you and support you with this to get clear and focused and moving forward in a way that works for empaths with tools to protect your energy, to have the boundaries, all the things. So I just want to say that Momentum Tribe is also a really good fit for you if you're an empath. So the last couple things I want to say is when we're not aware of these energy tools and aware of the way that we are, we can also be a target for energy vampires or narcissists because they see us in some ways as easy prey. I don't want to say could be manipulated, but people who are just out to get what they want and do not care who they step on, an empath is a great person to step on in that way because they can be manipulative. They can, be, manipulative is the best way to say. So sometimes energy vampires, even if it's your cousin who calls you and wants to go over and over and over the family drama, or maybe it's a coworker that's gossiping or planting fear in you about something, you can be an easy target because you want to please them, you want to listen, you don't want to hurt their feelings. And so sometimes narcissists or just people that want to take and take and take can easily take from you, again, because we can lack boundaries sometimes. So all of these things are just symptoms of not having the tools and the awareness of regulating your energy. This is just self-growth stuff. There's absolutely nothing wrong with you. I am all of these things. I've had to work through all of these things and continue to work through them because being an empath is a special path. It is unique. So the last two things I want to say is the other one is that we're prone to addiction and compulsive behaviors because we just feel something and we just want to do it and it takes us over. So that can really fuel things like addiction and anxiety and things like that. And then we can just be, the last thing I want to say is we can be thrown off by so many things in a day. Smells, textures, noises, people saying things that we take personally, negativity, chaos, gossip, even just overstimulation of social media and stuff like that. We can get thrown off so easily all day that it can make it really hard to focus and to manifest. Okay, so now I'm going to share a couple of the most important things you need to do to be able to manifest, to be able to thrive as an empath. Really see what resonates here and make it your own. So the first thing that you really need to be aware of is that you need to carefully curate your energy. You need to focus on intentionally creating the energy that you want to experience while clearing excess energy. So what this means is choosing the energy that you allow in. If that cousin is going to drain your energy because you know exactly what they need to talk about or what they want to talk about, and you don't have the resilience today, you just simply want to choose to not let that in your head today, you can say no. You can not pick up the phone. You could, not pick up and then text them back saying, sorry, I'm just really busy today. We'll catch up soon. Like you can do a million things to choose the energy you allow in. That's the main takeaway, is choosing the energy you allow in. This is media. This is social media. This is what you allow in your brain. This is the people that you allow in. Also, intentionally curating your space as well. So this is all about intentional energy curation. So sometimes we have to say no to things. Sometimes we need to have boundaries. Sometimes we need to realize that we get to choose whether we go to this thing or not, whether we engage in this conversation or not. And then the other part that is adjacent or basically right next to this, which I guess isn't adjacent, but similar to this, is creating your space. So as an empath, you feel your space. So your physical room, your house, your room, your office, you feel your space more than other people. So clutter is not good for the empath. Decluttering is extremely beneficial for sensitive people because we feel the clutter. Also, the clutter has a story of like, oh, my dish is over there and oh, I should really do this, or oh, there's all that stuff there. It's hard to be creative or focused. So if you have an altar that's cluttered, if you have a work area at home that's cluttered, your desk at work, your workout space, your prayer space, your bed, your home, your sacred spaces, really intentionally curating that as well because you feel your space. So it doesn't have to be like a Martha Stewart home all the time, right? It doesn't have to be no clutter. I have 3 kids, so good luck not having anything on the floor. But what I do is I really make sure that my spaces are clear and decluttered. So my office space, every single day, I'm taking water cups and coffee cups out. I'm putting back that card deck where it goes before I start my day, before I record. There's not 100 things on my desk because it will make me start to feel anxious when I feel like I'm going to knock something over or there's just shit everywhere. It doesn't feel good. I also really take care in my bed space, my side table beside my bed with my lamp on it. I don't let there get to be a whole bunch of stuff there because when I wake up in the morning, if the first thing I'm looking at is like a plate with some crumbs on it and like a book that I haven't picked up in 3 weeks, but it's still sitting there with a thing stacked on top with like a thing that's teetering and a plant that leaked water, like whatever it is, it's just going to start my day off on a cluttered foot. So it doesn't mean your home has to be spotless, but it'll make you really feel more calm and safe when your home is filled with good feeling things and spaces that are clear. So even just picking one space that to you feels personal. It could be your bathroom where you have your sink and all your stuff. It could be your closet. It could be, your workspace, your yoga space, whatever it is. Having a few selected spaces or even just one that makes you feel calm, that makes you go like, because clutter is going to mess with your heads, is going to mess with your head. The other thing is filling your home or your spaces with good feeling things such as soft fabrics or plants or little trinkets that remind you of a really amazing trip, natural decor like wood and rocks and crystals, whatever your style is. When it feels more earthy, it's actually grounding to us. So when there's wood or crystals, as I mentioned, plants, these things actually calm and ground our energy. We feel the space. So decluttering an area that comes to the top of your mind now, decluttering one space that has been making you feel cluttered. And I know you already feel this point, but just think of when you completely declutter or overhaul an area of your house or redecorate or like rearrange, and you vacuumed under the bed and you've pulled out the thing and you vacuumed behind and you've wiped all the surfaces. You know that feeling when you walk in that room and you've moved a plant or you've, whatever it is, and you just walk in, you go like, I remember that even as a kid. I was obsessed with rearranging my room. I'd be like pulling dressers from one side to the other. I'd be always doing that because my space determined how I felt. And it's still the same, even though I'm an adult now. I still love to do that. So also, I mentioned this a minute ago, but allowing or choosing the energy we allow in, I want you to be really aware of media, TV, music, and any other messages that get into your mind. Sometimes my busy mind, I used to love like celebrity gossip, or I even love true crime, but there's a time and a place where I go, I can't let that into my mind. And now I just don't engage in like the gossipy stuff because it doesn't make me feel good. No judgment on you or anybody else, but just really being aware of the media that goes in, the social media. Is it making you feel good or not? Because you're going to pick up on things. I also see people, or I often see people, trying to manifest, but constantly getting thrown off by all these things we're talking about. Overstimulation, energy vampires, their space is cluttered. They're around more toxic or taking people. They have a hard time saying no. Blood sugar is also a big thing for empaths. Our blood sugar crashes, like hangry, is very real for us. It's like everything feeling is turned up. So when we're so up and down, we're overstimulated, our blood sugar is up and down, our space is cluttered, we have people in our life that are constantly taking and asking, and we don't feel like we have the inner power to say no, we immediately are so thrown off that it becomes really hard to manifest. Even if something is meant for you, is next for you, if you are an empath or a highly sensitive person, you will pick up and store that energy from your environment, including chaos, violence, negativity, gossip, clutter, narcissists, whatever. You will store that in your space, in your body, which makes it really hard to just override all that and try to manifest, right? So really, intentional energy curation, choosing the energy you allow into your life in every form is going to be huge. The last tool I want to talk about is about transforming, alchemizing, and releasing excess energy. This needs to be a daily practice. When I got serious about releasing and transforming energy, everything became so much easier. Being creative, healthy. I found, not saying that just by doing this, I all of a sudden was healthy, but what I mean is I would say to myself, like, I'm going to go for a walk. And then I'd get so worn out and depleted and overstimulated by all the shit in a day that I'd neglect myself, right? We talked about that. So even as I learned to transform and release energy, I felt so much lighter, more energetic, more clear. And I was able to more like you do you, that kind of energy. I was more able to do me because my energy wasn't way out there in everybody else's life, splayed out into the world. I was able to call my energy home, release and transform excess energy so that I came back to me and my natural energy. So I want you to really take on the practice of asking yourself, what do I need to release today? What's coming up? Do I have excess energy going on? And this is going to happen once you become in tune with it. You may notice that, maybe you're a mom or a parent, and there's tension with your kids, and all of a sudden you feel frustrated and your shoulders raise up and you go like, okay, once you figure it out with your kids, they're back to fine or whatever's going on. Go to your bathroom, go to your closet, take a second, go outside, put your feet on the earth, transform and release that energy on the spot. If you and your partner have like a disagreement or a moment of tension, shake it out, move it through after it's done. If you've watched something that's true crime or gossipy or something that's the news that fills you with fear and anxiety, do what you can to transform and release that energy on the spot, or it will get stored in your body. And I believe this is why empaths are more prone to chronic pain. They're more prone to holding on to weight, inflammation, disease, that not all disease, but these types of things, because we hold so much in our body. So a couple things you can do. And then again, I really highly recommend joining Thriving as an Empath on the path for more deep dives, more tools. But some of the things you can do, as I mentioned, is shaking your body, jumping. It doesn't have to look like any one thing. You could jump on a trampoline or a rebounder. You could jump on the spot. You could go for a walk or a jaunt down the road, and the intention is to move energy. Get your heartbeat up. Sometimes I will even just do jumping jacks. I'll kind of, as I start to feel anxious, I kind of go like, and I just like shake it out, and I just allow myself to like move it through, or else it will get stored in my body. And I am someone who does have chronic pain, who does easily hold on to weight, who does have a body that historically has been riddled with inflammation. I really believe that a huge part of this is the excess energy that is housed and stored in my body. So I, in the last few years, have really focused on this one. And every day I'm releasing excess energy, because it can even be something exciting, like I was saying, a concert or a dance competition, or I'm working with clients and we're lit up and it's so high vibe and like breakthroughs and all this greatness. At the end of the day, I still need to shake it through because I don't want to hold anything extra in my body. So shaking it out, exercise, going on a walk, these are all really beautiful things that you can do to release excess energy. There's also things, of course, like using sage or Palo Santo. Even incense helps to remove heavier densities of energy. And there's also things like shielding and cord cutting, which we'll get into in the challenge on the path. I'm going to give you a cord cutting track and shielding exercises. If you already know about those are really good things for empaths as well. And one really powerful tool that I'm going to share with you is the return to sender tool. And this is when we're around somebody, or maybe it's the cousin. I'm sorry, I feel like I'm giving a bad rap to cousins, but the cousin in the family that's wanting to call and gossip. Maybe you pick up, you have a call, you get off, and you're like, oh, I am depleted. You take a second, you put your hand on your heart, and you say, return to sender. That is not mine. This could be your boss that's in a mood today, and all of a sudden you feel them, and you're like, oh my God, and you start getting anxious. Return to sender. Your husband, your partner, your bestie, something's going on, even if it's just you feel for them, your heart is with them. If you leave that conversation and it's lingering in your body, you can take a second to clear it out. And when it's something like if your partner or your bestie is going through a hard time, you may not say return to sender at that point. But return to sender is more about when other people project their shit onto you. When other people project their panic, their gossip, their worry onto you, we go, stop, that is not mine. Return to sender. And then if it is somebody like a bestie or somebody who's, you've been to the hospital to visit someone, that is when I would shake it out. I might have a nice hot or cold shower. I might go for a walk, go for a run, move it through. So hopefully this has made sense and served you today. The biggest things I want you to know, the biggest takeaways from this episode is that being an empath is naturally who you are if you're relating to all this. Manifestation is an energetic game. We manifest not what we want, but who we are being. And you may have powerful beliefs. You may have done a lot of healing. You may have an optimistic mind. But if you're depleted, if you're worn out, if you're hangry, if you're taking on the mailman and your cousin's stuff, if you're depleted and unable to have boundaries and say no, that nothing can override that. No amount of just simple prayer or whatever else can override what's going on in our body. So use these tools, get really good at transforming and releasing energy, make it a daily practice, join on the path if it resonates with you. Also looking at intentional energy curation, choosing very carefully what comes into your space, what comes into your mind, what you allow in your head. Media, TV, music, all that kind of stuff, people. Also, your physical space, decluttering, bringing in plants, bringing in natural elements like wood or water or crystals or whatever, that will completely change your energy. Declutter one area of your house that means the most to you. The one that will pack the biggest punch. If it's your bed, so that every day when you're going to sleep, your bed space is just immaculate, or your bedside table, you have little anchors, maybe it's crystals or a picture of a loved one, or maybe it's just clean and clear, there's nothing there. Whatever feels best for you, creating space in your life, creating space in your space, making it feel good, because you are a sensitive being. And you will pick up and store energy from your environment. And we cannot just override this like by hoping that one day we won't be an empath. We just have to learn to work with it. And I look at it like a lot of things in our lives, right? Like I'm left-handed. I'm not looking to override my left-handedness. I work with it. I know that's very different than being an empath. I'm also a human design reflector, and that can be challenging, just like being an empath. I don't try to override and be like a projector. I learn to work with it. So being highly sensitive, being an empath is something you learn to work with. You master your own energy. You learn protection, you learn clearing, you learn grounding so that you can go on and thrive as an empath, because you are a powerful manifester. You do have the feels, and that can really take you far in this life. You're a great healer, you're a great friend, you're compassionate, you're empathetic, you're literally what this world needs. We just got to make sure that your energy is strong so that you're not depleted and overwhelmed and overstimulated, and that you can thrive. So my love, I hope to see you over on the path if this resonates, or in the Momentum Tribe. And either way, I will definitely see you in the next episode. Have a fantastic day. I'll talk to you soon. Thank you for listening to the Awakening Her podcast, your go-to for real-life manifestation. If you enjoyed the show, please leave a review on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you're listening from. Reviews really help the show. You can also find me after the show on Instagram at Talia Joy Manifestation. And listen, love, I know that you are ready to stop spinning your wheels and hustling and doing a bunch of stuff, and you're ready to make the money you want to make, to feel the way you want to feel. And if this is the case for you, then you are absolutely in the right place. I'm so excited. And if you're ready to jump into the implementation, you can check out On the Path. The link is below. Remember, all manifestation starts on the inside. I'll see you in the next episode.